Assalamu alaikum. The Quran and modern science. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. Oceanology. Barrier between sweet and salt waters. He has let free the two bodies of flowing water meeting together. Between them is a barrier which they do not transgress. Al-Quran, Surah Rahman, Ayat 19-20. In the Arabic text, the word barzakh means barrier or a partition. This barrier, however, is not a physical partition. The Arabic word maraja literally means they both meet and mix with each other. Early commentators of the Quran were unable to explain the two opposite meaning of the two bodies of water. They mix and meet, and at the same time there is a barrier between them. Modern science has discovered that in the place where two differences meet, there is a barrier between them. This barrier divides the two seas so that each sea has its own temperature, salinity, and density. Oceanologists are now in a better position to explain this verse. There is a slanted unseen water barrier between the two seas through which water from one sea passes to the other. But when the water from one sea enters the other sea, it loses its distinction characteristics and become homogenized with the other water. In a way, this barrier serves as a transitional harmonization area of the two water bodies. This phenomena is also mentioned in the Holy Quran and made a separating bar between these two bodies of flowing water. Al-Quran, Surah An-Naml, Ayat 61. This phenomenon occurs in several places, including the divider between Mediterranean and Atlantic Ocean at Gibraltar. A white bar can also be seen at Cape Point, Cape Peninsula, South Africa, where the Atlantic Ocean meets the Indian Ocean. But when the Quran speaks about the divider between fresh and salt water, it mentions the existence of a forbidding partition with a barrier. It is He who has let free the two bodies of flowing water. One palatable and sweet, and the other is salty and bitter. Yet has He made a barrier between them and a partition that is forbidden to be passed. Al-Quran, Surah Al-Furqan, Ayat 53. Modern science has discovered that in estuaries where fresh, sweet, and salt water meet, the situation is somehow different from that found in other places where two salt water meets. It has been discovered that to distinguish fresh water from salt water in estuaries is a conchoidal zone with a marked density discontinuity separating the two layers. The partition has a salinity different from both the fresh water and salt water. This phenomenon occurs in several places, including the Egypt, where the river Nile flows into Mediterranean Sea. This scientific phenomena mentioned in the Holy Quran was also confirmed by Dr. William Hay, a well-known marine scientist and professor of geological science at the University of Colorado, USA. Darkness in depths of ocean. Professor Durga Rao is a world-renowned expert in the field of marine geology and was a professor at King Abdulaziz University in Jeddah. He was asked to comment on the following verse. Or is like the depth of darkness in a vast deep ocean, overwhelmed with topped by dark clouds, depth of darkness one above another. If a man stretches out his hand, he can hardly see it. For any to whom Allah gives not light, there is no light. Surah Al-Quran, An-Nur, Ayat 40. Professor Rao said that the scientists have only now been able to confirm with the help of modern equipment that there is darkness in the depth of the ocean. Humans are unable to dive unaided underwater for more than 20 to 30 meters and cannot survive in the depth oceanic region at a depth of more than 200 meters. This verse doesn't refer to all seas because not every sea can be described as having accumulated darkness layered one over another. It refers especially to a deep sea or deep ocean, as the Quran says, darkness in a vast deep ocean. This layer, darkness in a deep ocean, is the result of two causes. 1. A light ray is composed of 7 colors seen in the rainbow. The 7 colors are violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. The light ray undergoes refraction when it hits water. The upper 10 to 15 of water absorbs the red color. Therefore, if a divider is 25 meters underwater and gets wounded, he would not be able to see the red color of his blood, because the red color doesn't reach this depth. Similarly, orange color are absorbed to 30 to 50 meters, yellow at 50 to 100 meters, green at 100 to 200 meters, and finally blue beyond 200 meters, and violet indigo above 200 meters. Due to successive disappearance of color, one layer after another, the ocean progressively becomes darker. Darkness takes place in layer of light. Below a depth of 1000 meters, there is complete darkness. 2. The sun's rays are absorbed by clouds which, in turn, scattered light rays, thus causing a layer of darkness under the clouds. This is the first layer of darkness. When the light rays reaches the surface of the ocean, they are reflected by the wave surface, giving it a shiny appearance. Therefore, it is the waves which reflect light and cause darkness. The unreflected light penetrates into the depth of the ocean. Thus, the ocean has two parts: the surface characterized by light and warmth, and the depth characterized by darkness. The surface is further separated from the deep part of the ocean by waves. The internal waves cover the deep water of seas and oceans because the deep waters have a high density than the water above them. The darkness begins below the internal waves. Even the fish in the depth of the ocean cannot see. Their only source of light is from their own bodies. The Quran describes this apathy: darkness in a vast deep ocean overwhelmed with wave, topped by waves. In the other word, above these waves there are more types of waves, those found on the surface of the ocean. The Quranic verse continues: topped by clouds, depth of darkness, one above another. These clouds, as explained, are barriers one over the other that further cause darkness by absorption of colors at different levels. Professor Durga Rao concluded by saying, 1400 years ago, a normal human being could not explain this phenomenon in so much details. Thus, the information must have come from a supernatural source. It is He who has created man from water. Then, has He established relationship of lineage and marriage? For Thy Lord has power over all things. Al-Quran, Surah Al-Furqan, Ayat 54. Was it possible 14 centuries ago for any human being to guess that every living being was made from water? Moreover, would such a guess be conceivable by a human being in the deserts of Arab, where there has always been scarcity of water?